Erongo Regional Council Chairperson Juuso Kambueshe visited Atlantic Junior Secondary School to inspect the progress of ongoing infrastructure renovations at the school. During the inspection, it was discovered that some of the renovated ceiling had been vandalized by learners. Kambueshe, who also condemned the acts of vandalism, has called on the school and the community of Swakopmund to adopt a culture of preserving resources as they are scarcely available.
The Atlantic Junior Primary School, where we have our vested interest, it's one of the schools in Swakopmund. As I've said, back then we made the pledge to assist the schools in the development of the environment and better sustainable strategies that we must have. Now, one of the biggest challenge we observed back then was the maintenance of the school, where, as you have seen, the dilapidated roof. We've been on this project for a few years now, and the project itself was costed about 7 million, and we promised the people that we seem to be able to cover this project within 500,000. So where we are now today, we are at the last leg of it, and we would like to see the success of it coming to fruition. The information that we have now is that the Ministry of Works and Transport, the very same ministry that I'm imploring to not sit on its laurels, they're the one who actually brought those costs here, those quotations. And we said, but we can do it otherwise. If we buy the material and we get the labor from the Works and Transport, we should be able to be in a position to come out cheaper. We bought that unicorn that they're mentioning, which is the roof sheet that they use on that. And the ceiling filler that they put on is blocking now the water from coming in, which is actually the cause of the whole damage. The first 2 years we spent less than 200,000, and we covered a cost of probably, according to their quotations that they had, almost 2 million. Now the labor is coming from them, they're providing free labor. So now, today when we come here, we want to see how far this project is. As we said, we cannot continue with one school in perpetuity. We want to finalize this. Now, the roof sheets we've seen there, or the ceilings board we've seen in there, as we have indicated, I would like to understand what the plan is. Because along the way, somebody stepped off the gas, where it's becoming a blame game now. A project generally has a beginning and an end, and it's got a plan. That's why I'm imploring them, basically demanding and requesting them to, it's a question of which word they find applicable to them. If they can't appreciate the request, I will put in a demand. What is applicable to them? Do you have a plan? That is the question. This thing is not rocket science. This can be done by local people. How many of this is needed? You calculate that, you know how long it takes to put one of it on here. So you would know in a day time, during your working hours, how many of this you can cover. All of these things can be done. It's not rocket science. So when we come here to do the investigation, is now within, by the first term of this year, I'd like to step off this school. I don't want to come here again except for something else. So I would like to see that everything else is done, especially with respect to the roof, and I'd like to confirm that the roof project is completed and then it's all done. It's very sad to have seen the vandalism from the children, but I think the teachers need to toughen up a bit. They need to bring the culprit to book. I came up with a plan to say, if we come to this school, this is one of the most populated schools, over 900 children. We invested the money here, you're helping over 900 families. So now we are coming here and we have this sort of action that we see there, that cannot be acceptable. So we want to spend in total less than 500,000 to cover that 7 million job which they say they have apparently quotations. When we started here, we were told 2 million, 5 million here, total of 7 million. We don't buy that. We don't believe it's the actual fact. It could be a commercial figure, but here, this is a social project that we must take on. With the economic downturn, people at the Ministry of Works and Transport, they were just mostly, I went there a few times, they were playing dominoes during working hours. Ne? How do you take a break for 3 hours? They come there, they play dominoes. So when you look at that, a lot of them, they are having skills to do this. So eventually we agree that they will provide the labor free of charge. So yes, if you look at the labor cost and labor hours that they have put in, it will be quite a fair amount of money, substantial amount of money, probably over $1 million or so. But the physical amount of money we put in to buy the material against the labor, donated labor, it's less than 500,000. Everybody is complaining, government is doing nothing. But the people that are sometimes complaining, they are accomplices in this criminal conduct, if you want to call it that. Because here we have laborers doing nothing. They've got a job. There's no responsible and accountable reply as to why the job isn't done. Now, when you have that, you have chaos. And the biggest challenge you also have is that you have decentralized work of government departments, and these people are employed to do a job. And when this job isn't done, you cannot go and say, President Geingob is doing nothing. What does they got to do with him in the first place? If you look at even the last elections, it was just President Geingob being blamed for everything. Now, we need to blame each other here, and we need to fix our action. So this is just also a contribution of me trying to transform into the right path, to accelerate that part of development and bringing my part, because it's also pointless pointing a finger to the other one. I'm sure all of us here, we have something to look at. We have something that we can improve. So this is my attempt to improve and to encourage each other to improve, and then we get there. But if it remains a situation of exchanging blame or shifting blame or just blaming or just seeking for apologies and excuses, then I think we will really be doomed. But for now, I think it's just to say there is light at the end of the tunnel.